Polish culture is an incredibly important part of the American fabric. Some of the earliest settlers were in places like Bandera and St. Hedwig here in Texas. But Panna Maria is really the Plymouth Rock, the founding place, the cradle of American Polonia, the first fully Polish settlement in the United States.
They came to the tree there in a place they named Panna Maria. In the Polish culture, one of the most beautiful celebrations is midnight mass at Christmas. As soon as it was 12 o'clock, they offered a mass of thanksgiving under that tree. And that tree still stands there today. It's a great symbol of strength through faith and trust in God.
We've got to remember that they arrived here in 1854, only 18 years after the Alamo, only 9 years after Texas became a state. This was tough country. There were no roads, there were no wells, there was certainly no electricity, there were no homes, there were no buildings, there was nothing. All they brought with them was their strong faith, their know-how, and their pride in their Polish heritage and their culture, and they went to work. It took tremendous courage, and they did it. We got to honor that courage, got to respect that courage, and that's what the Heritage Center is all about.
We're so fortunate to have it here in what St. John Paul described as the nest of Polish immigration to the United States. He said they're famous in Poland.
Panna Maria w Teksasie jest sławna w Polsce.
When you walk up to the building, it is magnificent, but it's just a shell. What really is needed now is to fill that interior. Inside, we're going to have exhibits. It's going to have a theater, it's going to have a library, research and archive section, a genealogical section. It is going to have the history of the families. It is going to be one of the most talked about centers in the United States and in fact in the world.
When I first saw that building, I said, wow, I could not believe it. I could not believe that something of this scope, of this size, of this magnitude was being put up to honor our Polish ancestors. It just really grabbed me. It really grabbed me right here. And I said, my gosh, what a beautiful story this is to tell.
My name is Randy Pavelik. My family came here from Poland in the mid-1850s on a boat to Indianola, walked to Panna Maria, bought some land, and the land is really terrible where they settled. How they made a living, I'll never know. They had to scratch and work for everything that they had. And I believe in the history of these folks that came from Poland to Panna Maria, and I want to preserve it for my children.
Looking at the Polish Heritage Center for the first time, I was very excited to see that we finally have somewhere where we can just come together, learn about Poland, and just see what the culture has to offer.
I'm proud to be here in Texas, studying here, and being so close to where my ancestors started their first church.
I feel like nowhere, even in the entire United States, we have a big hub of Polish information. So this is something new, something fresh that'll be passed down for so many years that so many people will visit and learn a lot about Poland.
I think that the Polish Heritage Center will educate our youth and generations to come, and I think that's a great place to go and get that information about your ancestors and your family and learn those roots where you come from.
I've met a lot of people that are Polish, but they just don't have any connections back to their ancestors, so they don't really know anything about it, and they never really take the time off to learn. And I think the Polish Heritage Center is something that's going to be really easy to access, something with a lot of information just to help you find your roots, learn about your culture, and just be proud to be Polish.
Albert Cerner family came in 1854, which is George's great-great-grandmother, and his father, his great-great-grandfather, Thomas Kowalik, came in 1856. We don't understand how they survived. They had droughts that almost starved them to death. They sacrificed a great deal, and their heritage needs to be preserved. The hardships their Christianity, their family values, their sense of community. Everything that they gave us, they taught us, we need to keep that preserved for future generations.
We've been greatly blessed. The whole community is blessed. That's why people need to consider the project that we've got going to preserve the heritage. When I see that building, it makes me feel like we're putting up something that's going to last 300, 400 years for future generations.
I'm Sam Katara. This is my wife Susie. We're from Panna Maria, or Karnes County area. Our ancestors were the Bunks. The first year they had probably the greatest drought in South Texas history. They had to hunker down and do the best they could with what they had.
Our parents and grandparents made sacrifices so that we can all have what we have, and we should share that and pay it forward. The older generation is passing on and the stories aren't being told. We need to keep these stories for our children and grandchildren.
We are Lambert and Rosalie Pawelek-Tiesman. Our great-grandparents came from Poland. We gave because we felt like they need to be rewarded and remembered for what they did.
I think we should give to this thing. And I think everyone should look at it and say, hey, this wasn't just handed to us, it was your parents and your great-grandparents worked for it. Support them today and let's leave something in their honor.
This campaign is not finished. We need people to contribute. We have raised $7.3 million. That has provided us the land. It has provided us the shell. But what still needs to happen is we need to raise the funds to provide that interior.
God blesses us in order that we might bless others. And I invite all of you to do what you can and not just a one-time gift, but continue to give on a monthly basis or a yearly basis. And now let's get this job done.
When this campaign is finished, we will be a part of history. This will be the preeminent Polish Heritage Center in the United States and a beacon to the world. I would ask all of you to really consider a major gift, and we can all look back and say, I was a part of building the Polish Heritage Center at Panna Maria, Texas.